Part 1, The Inner Shift, from reaction to response. In the fast-paced, hyper-connected world we live in, we are constantly bombarded by triggers. A sharp email from a colleague. A passive-aggressive comment on social media. A delay in traffic that ruins our schedule. These are the everyday moments that test our emotional discipline, not in grand, dramatic ways, but in subtle, repeated interactions that determine who we become over time. When we react, we surrender control. A reaction is immediate, emotional, and often regrettable. It's the snappy comeback, the impulsive text, the door slammed out of frustration. Reactivity may feel satisfying in the moment, but it often leaves us with damaged control, remorse, and missed opportunities for deeper connection. On the other hand, a response is deliberate. It arises not from the primal centers of the brain but from the part that reasons, reflects, and seeks long-term meaning. To respond calmly is to choose power over chaos, not power over others, but power over ourselves. And that shift, from reactive impulse to intentional response, is what defines emotional maturity. The power of the pause. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Thousands of years later, modern psychology echoes this with a near-identical insight. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, observed, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." This pause between stimulus and response is where transformation happens. It's the moment you don't send that angry message. It's when you don't yell back. It's when you take a deep breath instead of storming out of the room. The pause is small, but its power is immense. Why reactivity feels so natural? We react because we're wired for survival. The human brain is a prediction machine, scanning constantly for threats. When we perceive danger, emotional or physical, our fight or flight system kicks in. This ancient part of the brain doesn't distinguish between real threats and ego bruises. It reacts just the same to a lion or an insult. This is why being cut off in traffic feels like a personal attack. Why we snap at loved ones under pressure. Reactivity is our biology trying to protect us. But the problem is, most of today's threats are not life-threatening. They're emotional, social, and psychological. Responding to them with the full force of ancient fight or flight instincts is like using a cannon to kill a mosquito. It's overkill, and it often leaves more destruction than the original problem. Calm is the new strength. Society often equates calmness with weakness, especially in fast-talking, quick-reacting cultures. But true calm is not a lack of emotion. It is mastery over emotion. It is the ability to feel deeply without being enslaved by feelings. In truth, calm is strength under pressure. It's the leader who diffuses conflict with measured words instead of dominance. It's the parent who listens before punishing. It's the friend who offers presence rather than panic. In relationships, calmness builds trust. People feel safer around someone who doesn't explode at every trigger or storm off in frustration. Imagine two types of people during a crisis. One reacts instantly, loudly, and emotionally. The other remains composed, gathers facts, breathes, and then speaks. Which one would you follow? Which one would you confide in? Which one do you want to become? Cultivating calm in daily life. Calm doesn't come from wishing for it. Like a muscle, it must be trained. And like a skill, it must be practiced consistently. Here are some evidence-backed practices that help develop this inner strength. 1. Mindful breathing. Conscious breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest mode. 1. Even 3 deep breaths can interrupt a reactive loop. 2. Journaling. Writing down triggers, emotions, and possible responses helps create space between feeling and action. 2. It clarifies patterns and promotes intentionally. 3. Rehearsing calm. Before a tough conversation or stressful event, mentally rehearse how you want to show up. 3. Visualize yourself responding with calmness and grace. 4. Reflection. After emotional moments, reflect, not to criticize yourself, but to learn. 4. What triggered you? 4. What could you do differently next time? 5. Digital detox. Constant online stimulation trains us to react quickly. 5. Taking time away from screens allows our nervous system to recalibrate. 6. Gratitude practice. Focusing daily on what's working in your life, even in small ways, shifts the brain away from a reactive, threat-focused mindset. The long-term payoff responding calmly isn't just good in the moment, it shapes who you become. Over time, your relationships become less volatile and more respectful. Your decision-making improves. You stop wasting energy on drama and start investing in growth. You gain emotional resilience. More than anything, you begin to trust yourself. You no longer fear losing control because you've built an inner anchor. Life will still throw storms your way, but you become the eye of the storm, the calm in the center, steady and aware. To respond calmly is not a luxury, it's a necessity in a world addicted to noise and urgency. It's how we reclaim our power in a society that often rewards speed over wisdom. Calm is not a weakness. It is quiet, intentional strength. Part 2, Building the Inner Fortress, Daily Practices to Strengthen Calm Response. In the first part of this series, we explored the concept of responding calmly rather than reactively, recognizing it as a powerful form of inner control. But how do we practically cultivate that calm? How can we become the kind of people who don't get thrown off course by stress, provocation, or emotional turbulence? The answer lies not in a single breakthrough moment, but in the slow, steady discipline of daily practice. Much like building physical strength, emotional resilience and calmness are muscles we develop over time. Let's delve into the strategies and habits that strengthen your ability to remain composed under pressure. 1. The foundation, awareness before action. One of the most effective ways to begin cultivating calmness is by sharpening your self-awareness. Emotional intelligence begins with the ability to observe your thoughts and emotions without being consumed by them. Start by paying attention to your internal reactions during ordinary moments. Do you tense up in traffic? Do you feel defensive when criticized? Simply noticing these triggers without acting on them is the first step toward mastery. Psychologist Viktor Frankl once said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response." This idea forms the cornerstone of calmness. The more aware you are of your own emotional patterns, the more capable you become of choosing thoughtful responses. 2. Daily mindfulness practice. Mindfulness meditation isn't just a trend, it's a scientifically supported method to train your mind. By dedicating even 10 minutes a day to sitting in silence and observing your breath, you begin to rewire your brain's relationship to stress. Studies show that consistent mindfulness practice increases activity in the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking, and decreases activity in the amygdala, the fear and reaction center. This makes you less likely to react impulsively and more likely to respond with clarity. Apps like Headspace or Insight Timer can be great tools to start. Remember, the goal isn't to stop thoughts, it's to observe them without judgment. Over time, this practice will help you build a gap between feeling and action. 3. Journaling to process emotions. Journaling is another powerful tool in the journey toward calm. It gives you a private space to unpack your thoughts, reflect on emotional triggers, and work through reactions without broadcasting them. Try this technique. Each evening, write down one moment in your day when you felt reactive. What triggered you? How did you respond? What might have been a calmer response? This form of reflective writing enhances your emotional literacy, helping you understand and manage future challenges with greater control. Additionally, journaling about gratitude, progress, and goals can shift your mindset from reactivity to intentionally, reinforcing a calmer, more centered self-perception. 4. Physical grounding techniques. Emotions aren't just mental, they're also physical. When anxiety rises or anger flares, your body responds with elevated heart rate, tense muscles, and shallow breathing. That's why physical grounding techniques are essential. The next time you feel triggered, try the following. 1. Box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. 1. Repeat. 2. Progressive muscle relaxation. Tense and release each muscle group, starting from your toes upward. 3. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grounding. Name 5 things you see, 4 things you can touch, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, 1 you can taste. These exercises anchor you in the present moment and pull you out of the spiral of emotional reaction. 5. Create response rituals. One of the hallmarks of emotionally mature people is that they don't leave their reactions to chance. They design intentional rituals or systems that help them navigate high-stakes or emotionally intense moments. Here are a few you can adopt. 1. Before responding to criticism, take a deep breath and count to 5. 2. Before replying to a tense email or message, write a draft and wait 10 minutes. 3. When anger surfaces, go for a short walk or drink a glass of water before speaking. These small rituals, practiced consistently, help transform reactivity into thoughtful composure. 6. Rehearse calmness in low-stakes moments. If you only try to be calm in high-pressure situations, you'll likely struggle. Instead, train in low-stakes moments. Use traffic jams, long lines, or minor annoyances as opportunities to practice patience and awareness. Smile instead of sigh. Breathe instead of grumble. Treat these moments as reps in your emotional gym. The more you train calmness daily, the stronger it becomes during life's bigger storms. 7. Learn from every trigger. Every emotional trigger is a teacher in disguise. Instead of avoiding difficult feelings, get curious about them. Why did that comment sting? Why did that look offend you? Often, our reactivity comes from old wounds, insecurities, or unmet needs. Use triggers as invitations to grow. Over time, what once disturbed your peace will become manageable, or even meaningless, because you've developed the strength to hold your ground with grace. Conclusion: training calmness is a lifestyle. Mastering calm responses isn't about becoming emotionally numb or detached. It's about becoming so secure within yourself that nothing can easily pull you out of balance. This journey takes commitment, patience, and self-compassion. The calmest people aren't born that way, they're made through daily discipline, intentional reflection, and a deep desire to grow beyond their impulses. They understand that true strength doesn't come from control over others, but from mastery of self. In part 3 of this series, we'll explore how to apply calm leadership in relationships, conflict, and career, turning your inner mastery into external influence. Ready to lead with calm confidence? Let's continue. Part 3, Leading with Calm, Turning Inner Control into Outer Influence. In the previous parts of this series, we explored the concept of calmness as a form of inner power and how to develop it through daily habits. Now we move to the final and perhaps most impactful step, applying this calmness in real-life situations, relationships, work, conflict, and leadership. Because true transformation doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in how we show up for others and the world around us. Calmness, when embodied consistently, becomes more than a personal trait, it becomes a leadership force. Whether you're a parent, manager, partner, or friend, Your ability to stay grounded under pressure creates ripple effects that inspire trust, foster connection, and promote healthy dialogue. 1. Calmness in relationships. The foundation of trust. Emotional reactivity is one of the biggest threats to intimacy. When you constantly react with anger, frustration, or blame, you create distance. But when you respond with calm understanding, you build safety, a space where the other person feels seen, not judged. Imagine a disagreement with your partner. One version of you snaps back defensively, escalating the tension. Another version pauses, listens, and says, "I hear that you're upset. Let's talk through this calmly." The first version adds fuel to the fire. The second builds a bridge. Being calm doesn't mean being passive. It means asserting your needs with clarity, without aggression. It means resolving conflict with curiosity, not control. In this way, calmness becomes the heartbeat of healthy communication and emotional safety. 2. Calmness in parenting. Teaching through example. Children learn not by what we say, but by who we are. If we want them to be emotionally regulated, respectful, and resilient, we must model that behavior first. When a child throws a tantrum, a reactive parent might yell, punish, or mirror the chaos. But a calm parent becomes the anchor. They regulate themselves before attempting to regulate the child. They teach by example. Even when things get messy, I stay steady. This doesn't mean permissiveness, it means boundaries delivered with empathy. It means being firm yet kind. And most of all, it means helping children feel safe enough to learn from their mistakes, not be shamed by them. 3. Calmness in leadership. The mark of true influence in high-stakes environments, corporate settings, teams, or organizations. Emotions run high. People look to leaders not just for answers, but for emotional direction. A leader who panics under pressure transmits fear. But a leader who remains calm, composed, and focused signals strength and earns respect. Calm leadership communicates, "I'm in control, even when things are uncertain." Great leaders practice active listening. They pause before responding. They manage crises with clarity and composure. They hold space for others' emotions without becoming overwhelmed. And they make decisions based not on ego or impulse, but on principle and purpose. If you're in a leadership role of any kind, ask yourself. 1. Do I create calm, or contribute to chaos? 2. Do I listen more than I speak? 3. Do people feel more grounded after talking to me? If the answer is yes, you're not just managing, you're leading with power. 4. Calmness in conflict. De-escalation as a superpower. In moments of disagreement or confrontation, most people go into one of two states, fight or flight. They either argue aggressively or shut down entirely. But a calm person does neither. They remain present, curious, and grounded. To respond calmly in conflict is to prioritize resolution over dominance. It's to ask, what's really happening here? What does this person need that they're not expressing clearly? It's seeing past the surface anger and into the deeper issue. Try this the next time you're in conflict. 1. Lower your voice instead of raising it. 2. Ask open-ended questions like, "Help me understand what you're feeling." 3. Repeat what you heard to show you're listening, "So what I hear is." These small shifts disarm tension and invite collaboration. They don't just end arguments, they build mutual respect. 5. Calmness in career. Navigating pressure with purpose. Work can be a breeding ground for stress. Deadlines, expectations, office politics, it's easy to get swept up in reactivity. But calm professionals rise above the noise. They become the go-to people in the storm because others trust their steadiness. Calmness in your career looks like 1. Delivering feedback with tact and clarity, not emotion. 2. Taking a breath before responding to criticism. 3. Managing time and stress with systems, not panic. It's also about long-term vision. Reactive people chase every opportunity or threat with urgency. Calm people move with strategy. They don't let distractions dictate their direction. They make thoughtful choices that align with their values. Over time, calmness becomes your competitive advantage, not because you're louder, but because you're clearer. 6. Calmness as a legacy. The ultimate measure of a calm life isn't just how you feel, it's how others feel around you. Do they feel safe to be themselves? Do they feel heard, seen, and understood? That's the true power of calmness. It transforms your inner strength into external impact. In families, calmness breaks cycles of yelling and conflict. In teams, it creates cultures of trust. In communities, it opens space for compassion and dialogue. And in the world, it reminds us that true power never needs to prove itself, it simply is. Final thoughts. The calm within you to respond calmly, not reactively, is to reclaim your authority over your life. It's not about suppressing your emotions or pretending to be okay. It's about developing the capacity to feel deeply and still choose wisely. This power lives in all of us. And like any power, it grows with use. So the next time life tests your patience, your dignity, or your peace, pause. Breathe. And remember, you have a choice. Be the calm in the chaos. You are more powerful than the moment. You are the master of your response. And that, always, will be your ultimate inner power.